Welcome to our Green Kitty Party. So, actually, I am Purnima Agarkar and I am associated with Samajit Envirotech, Laya Resource Center, and I am a member of the Indian Network on Ethics and Climate Change. So, we conduct these activity every month where we talk about trending issues happening in the city, which relate to urban well-being and in a way that can help us cope with the changing climate as well. So today we are going to talk with Hamza Iyer. She has been with us, collaborating with us in several of our activities. She's an active citizen and practicing a sustainable lifestyle. Plus, she's also running a sustainable enterprise. So we are going to talk to her today about what all she has been involved in and how we can build a sustainable community. So we are just calling that the collective community as a Green Kitty Party. So I welcome Hamza to this Let's Talk session, and I would request her to take it over from here.
Thank you so much, Purnima and Dr. Kave, for this opportunity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the idea of a green kitty party is to have fun, right? So every time we hear about a kitty party, it often reminds us of a bunch of aunties coming together, and they have something called as a bhishi, and they all have great fun at it, right? Like there's chitter chatter, there's amazing food, there's like all these conversations that really make them want to meet each other more often, right? So why can't we have like a green kitty party, which means that no disposables are there in that event, and that we're having great yummy food, and at the same time we're talking about how we can not just rebuild our planet. All of us want to make our environment green, but it's also about rebuilding our communities. It's also about rebuilding ourselves, becoming better people, better versions of ourselves. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Some of this is also from a personal narrative, and there's a little bit of humor in this. I'm going to be sharing a lot, and if you feel like I need to stop, just let me know, and we can just have a conversation about something that you want to talk about, right? So I started, and I would say that I very consciously started about 10 years ago. I thought of the enormous things that I could do. Right from, and the first important thing that I said was, I don't want to have plastic in my life at all, right? Like sub bahar fek do, that is just, I just find all the alternatives. But then I realized that that's really not sustainable. Instead, can I really go about with, what are the various opportunities that I can do? And when I started, it just felt like there is so much I can do, and there's like, कितना कुछ एक दिन में बदल सकते हैं. And then I realized कितना कुछ एक दिन में नहीं बदला जा सकता, because you try doing something and then you realize that it has a repercussion, and then the next day you're not doing it, so you're back to square zero. Slowly each step got built. And so what started from a personal journey of switching to sustainable menstruation products, to cloth diapering our daughter, to actually making natural cleaners and even using them in our gardens, in our laundry vessels, washrooms. It's been great, and it's been a learning curve in terms of understanding what those barriers have been to make, do shift to all of these 100%. One particular process that I've really enjoyed over the last decade, coincidentally when I married another eco-nut, is that both of us really loved cooking from scratch. So all of our masalas, even baking of breads and different kinds of desserts, we would start doing at home. And soon our passion just started going to hosting butterflies and different kinds of butterfly host plants in our garden. So even our garden, right, like the fact that we compost, we've composted in like different types, aerobic, anaerobic, and we've realized which one we really like. We've understood our preference. We make banana fertilizers. We've been harvesting a lot of leafy veggies consistently. Now our daughter joins us when it comes to harvesting the leafy bounty that we get from our garden. And all of this is, I'll tell you, the underlying piece is that we've been having fun. We've not done it from a space of, I need to restore the planet. We've really done it from a space, hey, I enjoy doing this every day, and therefore it has become sustainable. So that's the thing that I want to say. While I really love this planet and I want to green this, the fact that I am having fun and I'm happy while I'm doing this really is a bottom line for me. How do you do this, me to we jump? I have a very wonderful personal experience. In 2012, I found my first tribe. And we were talking about waste demonstrations in Malleshwaram, Bangalore. So we didn't really need like a big, a hall and event space, just about a road would do for us. So the societies across the road would come talk to us and we would tell them, these are the different types of wastes. Why don't we, start segregating it? This is how you need to look at. This is how your dustbins need to look like. Zero plastic lining. You just need to wash it and keep everything clean. This is what your cardboard paper thing needs to look like. And then we would appreciate people who would come and, talk to us. So we had great fun giving social media shout outs to everybody who joined us for this awareness session. And then we didn't stop there. So then obviously people started calling in their association halls. So we would talk and we would wear trash, right? So we would wear clean trash, and that obviously got people really curious in terms of what's happening. And everybody would bring like different parts of the demo kit with themselves. And it moved from one society to another, and there we were talking about, the trash talk. In fact, one of the banners that you see here is actually on a cloth banner, which was printed by one of us. And others joined together, and we just made sure that it was as plastic free as possible. So we really had fun while putting all these demonstrations together. Again, that was like a common narrative point. And the fact that we would really enjoy answering questions and love learning new different things while we went community to community, group to group, talking to them about why they need to segregate their waste. But it didn't just stop there. It also extended to, pulling out a couple of posters, nails from trees, because we found that a lot of the streets looked like, nobody cared about the trees. Everybody just started using them as notice boards. So we, on a couple of random weekends, we would pull out these posters, nails from trees, and, we would say that this is what we're doing for an hour and a half. You could come join us and, we see how we can get to know each other better and, rebuild the nice space around us. And all of us definitely, made sure that we clicked a lot of happy photos together, right? And like I said, why should we fear climate change when you can have so much fun rebuilding the planet while you're at it? So we made sure that there were a lot of photographs that we giggled. In fact, you see Manu here, who's been collecting a lot of nails that we pulled out from the street trees. He would like to climb a few of them, and then we would hold that for him, and then we would have conversations about what type of trees are these. We understood, oh, okay, so this is a copper pod, and this is a rain tree, and this is these are the different seasons in which these trees flower. So it didn't just become a conversation about I want a clean environment. It also became a conversation about, oh, what's happening in my society, what's happening in my surroundings. And those were like really great opportunities to learn, where you didn't have like an exam to write about what you learned, but you just learned, just for the joy of learning there itself. Then of course, while we were at it, we realized all of us, what if we were an eco-friendly criminal, right? So printing stuff on recycled paper, maybe we would have done that, right? We would carry our own bags everywhere, right? And what if we were one of those people who, when we kill, we wash and we reuse, rather than leaving the murder weapon somewhere. And of course, this is my all-time favorite. If you're at a crime scene and you've killed somebody, we will make sure that we clean up the crime scene with some bioenzymes. And of course, talk about what is compostable, what is not compostable. Even in that, we make sure that we segregate really well. And without a fail, all of us as people who are eco-friendly lifestyle adopters, we really want to inspire and influence each other to live a better eco-friendly lifestyle. So why not at Knife Point do that? And this is my favorite ones. We always carry our own cups, so why not look at it from that perspective? So just a little bit of humor on that front. But there's been great learning from all the fun that I had at Malleshwaram and with that entire gang. One very beautiful one was to understand the big picture, right? Like, it wasn't just about waste, it was also about understanding what's around me, what kind of microclimate am I living in, what kind of greenery that I like to watch, can I have more pollinator friendly trees, how can I connect with other people, how can I connect with myself while I'm connecting with nature. All of these things really sort of came in together. And of course, there were a lot of great fun things to learn, even about how people were managing their trash, right? So when we would do from society to society, we saw very great examples. So this is from one of our members. She has a low cost composting heap, and she's had this kind of a composting heap for about a decade now, a little more than that. Just old gunny bags, lifted up leaf pile, a lot of leaf litter and kitchen waste gets layered up here, and you just let it be like this for about 4 to 6 weeks, and you can harvest this really good quality compost. The way we saw that her compost did magic was in her avocado trees, where each one of the trees is now bearing about 200 fruits a year. So that's really like a wow magic of compost, right? And zero smell while she's at this. In a couple of my field visits and some work related stuff, I would find time to go visit a couple of waste treatment plants. And clearly you can see there's so much of plastic that it's just a lot to take at a centralized level. So decentralized is the way to go. Then, of course, this is from our eco-friendly wedding, where this entire gang helped me plan how we could look at, very less disposables. The only disposable that you see here is this plastic sheet, which our caterer did not sort of want to budge on. But we gave in and we said, it's fine. At least we can look at 95% of our wedding, being well managed. So a lot of, juices, coffee, water, everything came in reusables. We had banana leaves, even the bowls that we had were reusable, even water glasses were in reusables. You look at the decoration in the backdrop, it's got fresh flowers in reusable, cloth. And we stuck to that. We stuck to very basic things. One argument that I remember I had with the decorator was, "Aapka naam thermocol mein chhap ke lenge." So I said, I'm pretty sure somebody who's coming at my wedding needs to know my name at the least. I don't want my name put in at the background with thermocol. So those were a couple of things that we really, were part of the conversation in terms of the journey itself. And this entire gang made sure that this other friend that I had made in Bombay, Jayant from Sampurna Earth, they were there to make sure that his bags that he took out from the kitchen were actually segregated trash. It went out like he got a bag of just coconut shells, he got a bag of just wet waste, he got a bag of just dry waste. And so much so that they actually came with huge containers which carried just cooked rice that was left. Everything else got over. So we were really efficient even in terms of the food that we consumed for the wedding. And then this is, of course, feels like I'm talking about another era. But even today, I found a tribe that is of people of all age groups, where we took charge of our own society's waste. And we were talking about how we could integrate this with waste picker services here. So we had somebody who was practicing dumping, and then we've now shifted to a mode where we've got Swachh working in our society. We're talking about how we can all look at segregated trash coming out. So again, we're doing a lot of conversations with the sub-societies in our larger society. And we recently organized a We Collect drive where we encourage people to, give out their e-waste here. So we were looking at streamlining some of these wastes in a much better way. And we often talk about these points around our society, which are very difficult to deal with. So we're looking at solutions in terms of how can we look at preventing this open dumping where people are throwing in anything and everything. And so it's very interesting, the conversation that we've had with local representatives, with bureaucracy, with other residents. It's fun to see why people don't want this to work. And while we're talking to them, we're realizing what kind of solutions may work. And I think that's where the core of a kitty party really lies, right? So how can you get people to come together on working on a solution which means fun to them? So we're just figuring out how to do all of these things. So in that process, what we looked at was what are the solutions that others are implementing. So what are those societies doing around us, right? So we found that people have a certain kind of infrastructure. They're looking at different types of pickup services. Some of them have vermicomposting pits, but there's some problems with them. And we tried to understand what's the feasibility, what's the affordability, and what's the efficiency in which some of these systems are actually working. So when we delved a little deeper, we realized that there were some very locally relevant solutions. So this is another project site by Swachh, where they've been doing composting. And this is a great example of how you can enable aerobic composting without pits in itself. So that I found was a very locally relevant piece here. Then when we met a bunch of other people, we saw what kind of infrastructure they had. So they needed a small shed to store in their dry waste. They had these kind of trolleys which were helping them move their bins across. Some of them had bins, some of them were reusing a couple of old bin lids on each other. Of course, they all spoke about how these bins needed to be cleaned up very regularly. It was also about understanding another low-cost solution for garden waste, right? So can you have like a heap composter, but built with very minimal things so that you can very easily move it if at all you need to move it. So these are some of the very interesting things that we figured out. Another thing that we've done is we have an exclusive plastic pickup from our building, which is provided by Rudra. Many of you may be knowing about this. So again, their collective action came in. A couple of us have come together. We've said, okay, we want to do this. Let's do this. Let's streamline it. And while doing all of this, just 2 days ago, I was asking another person, hey, do you have some space in your bag? Because, I don't want to create a second bag unnecessarily. If it is there, then I can just, club it with you. So we're also having conversations at another level with each other where we're discussing how much plastic are we really consuming. I think it's very important to have these conversations, not just at home, but also as a community, because you could be an aggregator as a community, and there's immense power while we are having those conversations with each other. Again, a lot of people have started growing food together. I know of several buildings who've had a terrace garden and they harvest something together and they share the harvest together. They're teaching their kids how to grow food there. They're also learning themselves. So great way to, mitigate climate change and learn something new and find, build patience and other relevant skills in the process. For me, I think what stood out most in the whole community piece or in the whole Green Kitty Party piece is that I didn't feel alone when I was being a single person who was trying to do a lot of sustainable things. I felt like I belonged to a community and there are others who are with me to it. So I don't feel like I'm, not reaching out to another eco-friendly person. And I understand that I'm interdependent on this community, and there's great sense of security that comes when you're interdependent on somebody. Another thing, a neighbor of mine started keeping his orange peels aside for us, and I make bioenzymes and I give it back to him. So there's circularity, there is, he keeps them aside for me and I make bioenzymes for him. So there's, that give and take, which is happening out of mutual respect. So that's really, really great fun where we're doing it. We also go there to just water his plants. It's a great activity to do, gives us a little break from our monotonous lives. So those are things that have made us feel much closer together as a community. I'm going to stop on that note. No, I'm going to talk, finish this point and then stop. Often when we look at Bishis, it's looked at with money. Instead of that, can we lend out our excess compost? Can we even exchange our saplings? Can we give out some extra liquid fertilizer that we have with each other? We may just be creating a different kind of bond, in our own communities. There are local gardening groups. You can look at brown leaf to find, dry leaves. You can join a plugging community. And you can look at whatever local, fun, engaging options that are there, in and around. And if you think that there isn't any, I'm going to ask you to just start, because you'll be really surprised how quickly you can find a tribe of fellow eco-nuts who are probably as crazy, as fun, and as enthusiastic about all of these things as you are. So I'm going to stop there, and you can connect with me on these coordinates, and let's just have a conversation in terms of all the things that are coming to your mind right now.